Today we stand witness to a moment of turbulence within one of America's most prominent media outlets, MSNBC. At the heart of this controversy is Rachel Maddow's impassioned critique of her own network following the cancellation of Joy Reid's show, the ReidOut. What may seem like a corporate restructuring is, in reality, a moment of deeper reflection on diversity, free speech, power, and the ever-changing media landscape.
PM hour, all the other nights except for Mondays. So that's a big change. An even bigger programming change is at 7 p.m. Eastern, where Joy Reid's show, the ReidOut, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12. And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that, but that's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces now. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it. But there's just one other piece of it that you should know. From your side of the TV screen, you will mostly see changes in terms of who's in the anchor chair. And actually, everybody who's going to be in anchor chairs from here on out are great colleagues and great at what they do. And you are not going to be disappointed in who's on our air and what you're going to be seeing. But one thing you cannot necessarily see is that the people who get our shows on the air, they're really being put through the ringer. Dozens of producers and staffers, including some who are among the most experienced and most talented and most specialist producers in the building, are facing being laid off. They're being invited to reapply for new jobs. That has never happened at this scale in this way before when it comes to programming changes, presumably because it's not the right way to treat people, and it's inefficient and it's unnecessary. And it kind of drops the bottom out of whether or not people feel like this is a good place to work. And so we don't generally do things that way. Maybe all of our folks, including most of the people who are getting this very show on the air right now, maybe they will all get new jobs here. And I hope they do. But in the meantime, being put in this kind of limbo, the anxiety and the discombobulation is off the charts at a time when this job already is extra stressful and difficult. It is not news for me to tell you that the press and freedom of the press are under attack in a way that is really, it's a big deal for our country. It's very visceral for us here. I know that the business of the press is not an easy thing, and I know that no job is forever. But I think I'm safe in saying for all of us anchors who you know through the TV, please know that what pains us the most is not what happens to us. It is what happens to our coworkers on whom we depend and who you don't necessarily know, but we respect and love them and depend on them. And did I mention we respect them? This is a difficult time in the news business, but it does not need to be this difficult. We welcome new voices to this place and some familiar voices to new hours. It's going to be great, honestly, and we want to grow and succeed and reach more people than ever and be resilient and stay here forever. I also believe, and I bet you believe, that the way to get there is by treating people well. Finding good people, good colleagues, doing good work with them, and then having their back. That we could do a lot better on, a lot better. I'll be right back.
Rachel Maddow, known for her unwavering stance on progressive values, openly challenged MSNBC's decision, labeling it a bad mistake. In an emotional 4-minute monologue, she expressed grief over losing a valued colleague, citing not only the importance of Joy Reid's voice but also raising concerns about the loss of non-white anchors in primetime slots. Her argument centered on the importance of representation in media, while simultaneously exposing what she saw as a fundamental failure in corporate decision-making, one that placed profit over people. But what does this moment signify? From a broader perspective, this situation represents the inevitable clash between ideology and reality. It is a testament to the inherent conflict between the biological obligations of loyalty, our human desire to stand by those we trust, and the cultural composition of modern institutions, where decisions are driven by market forces, competition, and political maneuvering. Has long emphasized the complexity of human nature and the necessity of constructive dialogue in navigating societal issues. If we apply his philosophy here, we find a revealing paradox. Maddow, a seasoned media figure, embodies both the strength and the weakness of emotional argumentation. On one hand, she champions free speech and fearless critique, yet on the other, her fiery response raises an important question: does emotion cloud reason, or does it ignite necessary discourse? This episode might serve as an ironic spectacle, a media figure who has long defended ideological purity now facing the consequences of an industry beholden to shifting narratives. Critics argue that Maddow's plea exposes the liberal hypocrisy within the media. The same institutions that have long touted diversity and inclusion are now making corporate decisions that contradict those very values. The cancellation of Reid's show, alongside layoffs affecting dozens of producers and staffers, highlights an unsettling reality: media giants prioritize survival over sentiment. The role of free speech and critique. One of the most important aspects of this situation is the role of self-critique in media. Maddow's willingness to call out her own network is a rare instance of public introspection within a highly polarized industry. It exemplifies intellectual humility, a concept often overlooked in today's aggressive media battles. Conservatives and liberals alike should take note: true progress comes from questioning even our closest allies, from being open to criticism, and from recognizing that no ideology holds a monopoly on truth. Yet, the hidden logic behind MSNBC's decisions cannot be ignored. Networks are businesses, and businesses must cater to audiences. MSNBC's post-election ratings have reportedly plummeted by 53%, a staggering decline that naturally forces leadership to reassess its strategy. Herein lies the deeper issue: is this a strategic shift for survival, or a betrayal of core values? From a conservative perspective, this upheaval is nothing new. History shows us that institutions, whether political, economic, or media-driven, will always adapt to power shifts. America's founding fathers understood that democracy thrives when dialogue remains free, but also when the market dictates outcomes. If MSNBC's current trajectory is one of decline, it is not because of conservative pressure but because of internal contradictions within left-wing media itself. Long warned about the dangers of ideological echo chambers. Maddow's response, while sincere, demonstrates the limitations of ideological rigidity. Was MSNBC's leadership wrong in its decision? Perhaps. But was Maddow's emotional outburst the most effective way to address it? That remains debatable. Passion must be balanced with analytical reasoning, and free speech must be paired with self-awareness. What can we, as thinkers and citizens, take away from this event? The value of dialogue, even when uncomfortable. Calling out one's own side is necessary for growth. The role of free speech. Speech is not just about expressing beliefs, it is about questioning them, refining them, and accepting challenges. The balance between emotion and reason. While passion can ignite movements, unchecked emotional responses may overshadow logical critique. The reality of the media industry: regardless of ideology, media corporations will act in their own best interests, often at odds with their stated principles. The conservative perspective on institutional shifts: no institution is immune to change. The question is whether that change aligns with truth and integrity. Rachel Maddow's moment of reckoning is more than just a dramatic episode in the media cycle. Whether one views MSNBC's decision as a necessary business move or a moral failure, this controversy underscores a larger truth: democracy thrives on dialogue, but dialogue must be tempered by reason, respect, and intellectual humility. And so, as we reflect on the situation, let us remember: free speech is not merely about speaking, it is about listening, questioning, and, when necessary, recalibrating our understanding of the world. Thank you.